5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hi everyone, Techie Prepper here. If you're ever put in a situation where you're hiking, camping, or you have a natural or man-made emergency, would you rather be spending your time like this? Or like this? Well, hopefully everybody chose the first option, having a good time, trying to do your best to get by in an emergency situation as stress-free as possible. And if so, then this video is for you. I'm talking about waterborne illnesses, and I'm making light of it a little bit, but they can be deadly serious at times. I was in the Air Force a long time ago, and I had an opportunity to go to Clark Air Base in the Philippines. And I was warned about the water over there. There's different critters in their water that I'm used to. And I did everything to avoid it. But I had a mixed drink with some ice cubes in it. And it got me. And it was a miserable 2 days. So that I'm not sure what I had, but it flushed through my system and it was horrible. The World Health Organization claims that 3.5 million people contract illnesses from bad water, right, around the world every year. So you might be thinking, well, that's worldwide. There's places that I wouldn't drink the water, and some kind of sketchy places. I've been to a lot of them, trust me. You say, not here in the U.S. We have water treatment plants, my water's safe, everything's good. But the CDC estimates that 1.2 million illnesses a year stem from bad water here in the U.S. That leads to 600,000 ER visits every year. 32,000 of those turn into hospitalizations long term, and 6,630 deaths. And the majority of those illnesses come from bacteria in the water and some viruses. Some examples of that would be Giardia, 400,000 people a year in the US. Cryptosporidiosis, that's a tough one. That's 300,000 approximately per year are affected by that. And the last one, I have to read this because it is so hard to pronounce. Campylobacteriosis. That's about 170,000 people are affected by that, right? And then not to mention the viruses in the water. So the biggest culprit is the norovirus, rotavirus, and yes, even hepatitis A and E. Not to worry you, my channel is not about fear mongering. Hopefully, you never get exposed to these, but natural disasters do happen where the water can be contaminated. It's good to be prepared with several types of water purification, so I'm going to cover a few of those right now. Welcome everyone. What are we talking about today? Water filtering and purification. Now I know a lot of people out there go and grab either a Life Straw or a Sawyer Mini or Sawyer Squeeze, something along those lines, and think they are probably covered for most emergencies. And they may be right, they may be wrong. It depends on the situation really, and the piece of hardware that you actually use. So what I'm going to do today is go over the differences between water filtering and purification, and show you a couple different styles of filters and give you a use case scenario for each, right? Where they're best suited to use. Real quick, if you happen to enjoy my videos, please like, subscribe, and most importantly, share it with people in your friends and family group who you think might actually get some benefit out of watching it. And if you'd like to share a coffee with me, I will put my Bitcoin address QR code somewhere here, and also the wallet address down in the comments. And as always, with all my videos, any items that I cover in the videos that I actually own or that I recommend, I will put direct links in the comments below as well. Okay, so let's get techie. Filters, and yes, come in all shapes and sizes. They all have different technical specifications, and they filter water to different degrees. There's a couple different types. There are filters. So typically the filter material in a Sawyer Mini, Sawyer Squeeze, Life Straw is 0.2 microns to 0.1 microns. That is relatively large when it comes to water filtering. Now what you get in return for that is you get a smaller form factor generally, so you can carry these in a backpack and such. Then we have water purifiers. They're classified as purifiers because they filter down to a much smaller level. Now this one happens to be a Life Straw family, and this filters down to 0.02 microns, not 0.2, 0.02, which is much smaller pore size. Now these are filter elements, and these happen to be black Berkeys, made by Berkey. There are competitors to these, and Pro One is another good manufacturer of these. And what these do is go into filter systems and drinking systems for the home. And what I mean by that is they're usually stainless steel or plastic, and it's a reservoir on top. These go into the reservoir on top, and gravity filters the water down through these into a reservoir at the bottom that holds the filtered water. Generally there's a spigot on it or something, you can come up, fill your glass up, etc. Now of course, each one of these has its own use case and it has different capabilities. If you want to use a filter with a filter element pore size of 0.1 or 0.2 microns, these are good for areas out in the wilderness where there's not a big human presence, and they're small, so that's what they're basically designed for. It's to use hiking, camping, and all these uninhabited areas, right? So what will this filter out? This will filter out dirt, sand, microplastics, bacteria, and parasites, including E. coli, salmonella, giardia, dysentery, and cryptosporidium. Those little nasty things that make you sick and give you diarrhea, dehydrate you, can make you very sick or kill you, these will handle it. Now if you're going to be in an area where there's a substantial human presence, you're going to standing bodies of water that are around a neighborhood, you're forced to do that. Where there may be septic systems and that water is leaching down into the water in that area, you want to filter for human viruses. So what you want to do is you want to go to a water purifier, and that has a smaller pore size, generally a 0.02 microns. That will filter out the majority of human viruses, and that's what you want to worry about. So this has the capability to do everything this does, plus filter out human viruses. It's small enough where you could use it camping if you have several people and you don't want to wait forever to make enough water for everybody. So then we go on to this. These filters, the filter elements, they filter all the nasties that this one does, all of the nasties including viruses that this one does, as well as the chemicals, the heavy metals, the herbicides, and the pesticides. So long-term solution, this is best. Where would you use this? You could use this everywhere. The only thing is it's a bigger form factor, because basically you screw kind of into the bottom of a container like this, and then there'd be another container on the bottom where the water drains to. It's basically the size of two of these buckets. It's not very conducive to taking backpacking or camping. So that gives you a brief summary of their capabilities and their use cases. Now, I've given you a few examples here, but I'm no medical professional, so make sure that you know your use case. What are you going to use it for? And read the specifications and certifications that come with it to know what you're going to be able to filter out and if that's applicable to where you're going or where you're going to use it. And as with all these, have a plan in place in case the water goes out. You have a boil water alert. Know where these are and know how to use them. Now, I know everybody has different budgets, and especially these days, it's kind of difficult maybe to go out and buy some of these things when you have high prices for gas and stuff. I get that, trust me, I'm feeling it too. But I would recommend, if possible, that you have a backup or several methods, whether it's, boiling's cheap. If you can find fuel for a little camp stove or something and you need to boil your water, great, but have that and have another method as well. And now that I've pulled all these out and I have them fresh in my mind, I've decided to do an upcoming video on harvesting water from different sources. So keep an eye out for that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.